Welcome in, and today I'm going to discuss with you how I would implement Sandman into Marvel Rivals as a Vanguard. People have talked about him as a tank they want in the game. I'm not sure the percentage on how likely that is to actually be implemented into the game, but before going into actually him, I will describe a few things. One of them being this. I created all of these stats, all of the baselines, all of the movements, all the team-ups, everything for him. The numbers may not be perfect, but I try to make them as game ready as possible. They may be a little tweak here and there, but I will explain my reasonings throughout. Now let's go straight into it. Sandman. His HP will be 700, which will be higher than a lot of other tanks. It's about as much as Groot right now. And his movement speed is 6 meters a second, so the same as Groot. And I'll be using Groot as a baseline here, because I do believe Groot is a good judge on what a strong tank is, and overall you will see where I'm getting at. Now, his primary, it does 75 damage, Groot's does 65. His projectile speed is 100 meters a second, Groot is 120. Maximum range of 5 meters, Groot is 22 meters. Attack interval, 1 second, Groot is 0.7 seconds. And the Hammer Fist can hit multiple opponents at once, but there's no critical hits. Imagine swinging a hammer with his arms left and right, with both of them. That is his attack animation. I can't really show it because, well, it's not in the game, there's not really any mods of this, and I'm not that great of an artist, and I don't want to use AI for anything. So I hope you understand that. Now, his secondary ability, aka his right click, is a shield. His shield durability is 800. Now, that's 100 bigger than Strange's shield right now, but let me explain. And I will compare it to Strange directly right now, just to show you the differences right here. The shield recovers at 30 a second. Doctor Strange's is 60 a second, but each hit from Sandman recovers his shield by 15 per enemy hit. So even though on average its passive heals at half the speed of Strange, depending on how good the player is and how good they are at expressing their skill, because this is very skill expressive, it may feel worse than Strange, like severely worse, or better. Now, to start the animation of his shield, Sandman slams his arms into the ground, forming a 5 meter wide and 2.5 meter high sand barrier. That is shorter than Strange's shield by just a little bit, but it is wider than Strange's shield, I believe. And while his barrier is up, movement speed is reduced by 50%, while Strange's is at 30%, I believe, last time I looked. Now, his shield does work the same as Strange. Delayed recovery speed of 1 second when putting it down, and cooldown after destroyed of 3 seconds, so it starts regenerating after 3 seconds after it's broken. Enemies cannot walk through the barrier or melee through it. It's like a movable Groot wall in that way. Now, it does have 800 health because of how skill expressive it is, of how weak it can seem to less skilled players, and it is much bigger and does take up larger, wider space than Strange's shield, and is a bit more obvious than Strange's shield, so it's going to be taking an increasing amount of damage, even more so since Sandman's gameplay loop will be to get into your face, because he has a very short range. You go to him, you will get punished. He is a mix of a brawl and a shield character. Now, his shift ability, Sand Awakening. Sandman raises both arms into the air and slams them down into the ground, taking 1 second to do so, and in a 5 meter radius, all teammates receive a 30% damage reduction for 5 seconds. To indicate this, sand particles will hover around each teammate affected. Sandman, though, is not affected by this 30% damage reduction. Now, to offset this strong ability is on a 15-second cooldown. Now, his E ability, Whirlwind. 40 damage on all hits. Sandman fires out a whirlwind of sand at the enemies, reaching up to 25 meters. Now, for this, I will compare him to Invisible Woman, which has the Force Physics ability. Her push range is 12 meters, her pull range is 7 meters, while Sandman's whirlwind is 25 meters. It takes 1 second before the whirlwind reaches the end of the 25 meters, so it's not immediate. You can dodge out of it. It reaches 2 meters wide and 2 meters high. Meanwhile, Invisible Woman's radius on her push and pull is 1.5 meters. So it reaches longer than Invisible Woman and is a slightly 0.5 meters wider and higher than Invisible Woman. So about a 2-meter radius compared to her 1.5-meter radius. And Invisible Woman does 55 damage on her push and pull. Sandman does 40 on his push. And any enemies hit by it, the whirlwind I mean, will get knocked either to the left, back, or right depending on their position when hit by the whirlwind by 4 meters. If an enemy hits a wall from the push, they take an extra 30 damage. This is another thing for him, since he's purely a brawl type of tank with a shield. This is a way to actually have him have range. Along with, he is a very controlling type tank, and this will just increase his control ability. Now his ultimate ability, Sandman's Wrath. This is where his control really shines. It lasts 8 seconds, which I matched with Human Torch's ult, which lasts 8 seconds, which you will see in the team up. Now, he gains 150 bonus health at the beginning of his ult. He rises into the air like Hela ult, causing a sandstorm to form. Now, just to compare him to Hela quickly, Hela's ult gives her 1000 health, and both of them throw projectiles at 80 meters a second. So Hela at 1000 health, now Sandman is going to be at 950 from his 700 base plus the 150 bonus health at the beginning of the ult. Now he rises into the air, causing a sandstorm to form the size of 10 meters. Now if you need a visual to that, Moon Knight's ult is 5 meters and it reaches up to 15 meters into the air, while Moon Knight's is 8 meters, grounding any flyers and causing a consistent 10 damage per second. He can also shoot out chunks of sand onto the ground and at enemies once per second, so he can only have 8 throws per ult if he times it right. Each hit on an enemy deals 35 damage. Each sand pile on the ground which he throws at the ground or enemies is 2 meters wide and tall, which disappear after the sandstorm dissipates. But during, if an enemy walks into them, they receive a 20% slow as they move through it, but the effects disappear as they exit the sand pile. So you can throw, let's say, 2 sand piles on an enemy rocket and he will slow down a lot, and the sand piles will just be there once you throw it at him. It's not like you throw a sand pile at a person and it disappears. If you throw a sand chunk at someone, no matter if it hits or doesn't, there's now a sand pile where you threw it, so you need good aim. But when he's in the air, he cannot move from his position, just like Hela ult. You need to plan out and strategize where you want to use it, and he can get killed in his ult, unlike Hela. This makes him very strong at controlling. He needs to strategize. He has very high skill expression, and what he lacks in range, he gains in control. Now, for his team up I'm adding, he has a team up with Human Torch. While using their ults together in the same place, which mind you are both 8 seconds, each sand pile turns into spiked glass, causing 15 damage to anybody who runs into them. Meaning, if you throw a sand pile at someone, that's 35 damage from the impact, and once a sand pile is there, it turns into glass instantly, so that's another 15 damage on top of that, so that's 50 damage per throw. And it's not like Human Torch needs to hit every sand pile, no. He just needs to throw one flame from his ult into Sandman's ult, and it all takes place. It superheats Sandman's ult to create a glassy and sandy environment. And anybody who runs into the glass piles takes 15 damage. And the sandstorm fills with glass shards, increasing the 10 damage per second from the winds into 15 damage from the winds. Now, that's all I have right now for Sandman. Right now, he has very high HP for a tank, a very good shield as a tank. He has very good control as a tank, but he really, and when I mean really, he really lacks range, and he has very high and low skill expression. If you are not good at getting up and close, your shield will not regenerate, you're an open target. But if you're very good and know how to actually engage and attack the enemy, you will find very good value off of them if you constantly recharge your shield with sand, which you gain 15 per enemy hit, which you can hit multiple enemies at a time. This in a way is a counter to Brawl, a counter to Flyers with his ult, and overall, he is a much more controlling tank than we ever have had beforehand, even more than Groot in some cases. Let me know what you guys think of this addition to the Marvel Rivals cast I made. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video. See ya.